2017 has ushered in a brand new formula and a new look to the IMSA Prototype Challenge presented by Mazda. For the season finale, tradition takes over as we head to Road Atlanta, the circuit which started the renaissance of North American sports car racing when back in 1998, Dr. Dom Pano staged the very first Petit Le Mans. That great race is celebrating its 20th running this weekend on a 2.54-mile circuit that is as challenging as ever. Action areas at turn 1, particularly after the start or restarts. And look for the exit from turn 7 to get a good run down the hill towards the heavy braking area at turn 10. But even then, it's not all over. The left-hand diving turn at the end of the lap is another real challenge for the drivers. Hello everybody, I'm John Hindhaugh from IMSA Radio, delighted to welcome you to Road Atlanta. Just a little bit overcast, but the temperature's still in the mid-60s Fahrenheit. It's slick Yokohama tyres for all of the cars out there today. Two different categories of cars, brand new for 2017, the LMP3 cars with the big V8 and the closed roofs. The MPC cars are Mazda-powered prototypes, the open-top cars. Colin Thompson has all but wrapped up the LMP3 standings. Kenton Cook, at 18 points in arrears, has to hope for some disaster to befall Colin at the top of the standings. Whilst in MPC, Kyle Masson has already claimed the championship. Chris Wright and Tazio Otis still fighting for second place. The first race of the weekend was yesterday in beautiful sunshine conditions. A great start from Kenton Cook, who very quickly built up a handy lead. All the action was going on behind him. Watch the 86 car as it turns into corner number 7, Dave House getting a rather unfriendly bump and ending up facing in the wrong direction. Kenton Cook takes it from Robbie Foley and Colin Thompson in the LMP3 category. Another win for Kyle Masson, with Chris Wright coming home in second ahead of Tazio Otis. That was yesterday, and those results count for nothing right now as the field are putting some heat into their Continental tyres. The green flag at Road Atlanta is next. This weekend, it's the 20th running of Petit Le Mans, and the crowds have come out in their tens of thousands. Great way to finish off our IMSA Prototype Challenge presented by Mazda season. Sun just behind the clouds at the moment, keeping the surface temperature down on the track. The lights are out on the Mazda MX-5 RF safety car. Kenton Cook from Colin Thompson, Foley Arve, Kyle Masson, the best of the MPC runners on the inside of row 3. It's a mixed grid here. We don't split up the LMP3 and the MPC cars. Everyone has to scrap for their own piece of the racing circuit. Well, as the safety car now comes through the turn 10 complex, it's pulling away from our pole sitter. Kenton Cook now has the field under his control. The grid is forming up very nicely behind him. In the IMSA Radio booth, Jeremy Shaw and Shea Adam.
Green flag is out. Another perfectly clean start by Kenton Cook. And this time, Colin Thompson wasting no time defending from Robbie Foley. But it is that Ave Riley of Tony Ave who got the best start of them all. He came from 4th, and he went right around Robbie Foley at the green flag, made his way up to 3rd, and is battling as there is chaos unfolding in the MPC class. Michael Klemecki goes around. Nobody collects him. That was a very good avoidance displayed by everybody else's. Black MPC car goes straight off. A big cloud of smoke in the background from all that tire spinning action happening, but thankfully nobody with a damaged car after that one. That is the 32. Gerhard Watzinger drove off the course. We saw that in the back picture. He's very well off of the tarmac as Gary Gibson is making a pass on Chris Wright. Wow, frantic opening lap here, Jeremy, for everybody.
Yeah, certainly was there, and a couple of cars involved in that incident up at turn 1 and 2. And Gerhard Watzinger pulling off. That's a shame. He had a good run going yesterday.
Yeah.
But out front is another perfect start from Kenton Cook. And he's looking good. Colin Thompson slotted into second. It was a great start from Tony Arbe, the veteran. But he's not able to keep up on that opening lap. Fallen back a little bit, but he did get ahead of Robbie Foley on that start.
Chris Wright able to repass Gary Gibson when they came down the back straight, but Gary maintained the inside line and got the position back as they come through turns 8, 9, and under the bridge. Leader of the first lap is Kenton Cook. He has less than a second over Colin Thompson in that number 14 Norma, ahead of Tony Ave in the Ave Riley. Jeremy, is this the first time all season we've had 3 different makes in the top 3?
Yeah, it would be, I'm sure.
Wow. What
Absolutely
a great start.
Right. Good to see, certainly. And by my reckoning, Colin Thompson has just wrapped up the championship. We've only got 8 cars starting this race. So even if he goes out now, he's going to finish in 8th, which is going to be worth the 8 points. Colin Thompson can only get another 20 for winning a race. So I reckon Colin Thompson's got it wrapped up. And he is now going to chase after Kenton Cook and see if he can perhaps turn it into a victory. But just spoke to those two right before the start, and Colin was saying, is a yellow flag?
Full course caution is out. Jay Salmon and M. Bart Wolf have come back into the pit lane. Slight damage for the latter's car, but this would be to retrieve that stricken car of Gerhard Watzinger, who is slowly maneuvering around the circuit. Groundskeeping. But Jeremy, you were saying you talked to the championship too. Yeah, and
Colin Thompson reckons that the Ligier can build its heat into its tyres a little bit quicker than the Norma. It's got a little bit more downforce than Ligier perhaps than Norma. That's why the Norma is so slippery in a straight line and shows great straight line speed figures. And it's very good through the quick corners as well. But Thompson reckons that just there's that little advantage at the start, and it's going to be hard to make up, particularly when Kenton is driving as well as he is.
Yes, the 24 of Tim George is also off the course. In speaking with some of the P1 Motorsports team yesterday, they expected Kenton to make a great start, and they were pleasantly surprised when he pulled out such a gap. But everyone was focused on Robbie Foley because it was the youngster from New Jersey. Who was that? Oh, Watzinger got a little bit of help in his spin, and the rest of the field checked up behind. Maybe that's where the contact came from on the front of M. Bart Wolf's machine. But, well, didn't look too bad. He just got a little bit side-to-side contact with Watzinger. Probably broke the steering on Gerhard Watzinger because he went straight off the circuit and has continued in the same direction ever since. That would make sense. Yeah, Gerhard Watzinger out of his car. Not pleased that his season is ending this way, but this was his only weekend, so it wasn't a championship implication for the German-American. Tim George Jr. still sitting in his car, hoping that they can tow him out and he can get back going again. But yeah, the P1 team was so happy with what Robbie Foley was able to do off the start. They almost forgot about Kenton leading by a country mile. They were just so impressed with their youngster filling in the 17. His 3rd weekend driving a car with significant amount of downforce. Doing a good job is Robbie Foley. Currently in the 4th position. Didn't have the best start today, but was sort of mugged by Tony Ave, who had a phenomenal start in that red number 44. Should also mention that Kyle Masson started 5th, has maintained that position. MPC leader, and the next closest to him is his father, 2 cars behind, Dr. Robert Masson, in the number 11. He is the MPC Masters leader, and had a good chat with him last night after he did get his first win yesterday. He said it's a confidence thing. Now he knows he can do it, so he's going back out today to just do the same thing again. He is in the running for the Masters Championship, Jeremy, and a win today, would that guarantee it for Dr. Masson?
It wouldn't, unless Stuart Retty finishes more than 1 place behind him. Right now, Stuart Retty is following Robert Masson. If he can maintain that position, that would be enough for Stuart Retty to win the Masters Championship by a solitary point. Just 3 points separating those two coming into this weekend. Or, excuse me, coming into this race. There's 5 points coming into the weekend, but Masson won yesterday with Retty in 2nd place, so that reduced the deficit from 5 to 3. So therefore, Robert Masson will need to win the Masters class and have Gary Gibson, he hopes, pass Stuart Retty and maybe move it into third place. But Gary Gibson, unfortunately, had that tri-point joint failure in the drivetrain yesterday, so he was out very early in the race and lost a lot of ground. But he was the other championship contender coming into this race weekend, but unfortunately lost an awful lot of ground yesterday. So it's going to be a tall order for Gary Gibson to come away with the Masters Championship.
We have another MPC car back into the pit lane. That is the number 86 of Dave House. Didn't have the best race yesterday, did Dave?
Well, he was involved in an incident somewhere, which wasn't his fault. He was punted off, and he came back actually quite well afterwards. He's I think he's the oldest driver in the field, the least young driver in the field. But to tell you what, he doesn't lack any enthusiasm. And at 74 years of age, I'd say he was doing a mighty fine effort.
Yes.
And shame to see that car in the pits early in this race.
Didn't you say he's a bit of an adrenaline junkie?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to introduce.
Skiing. And, yes.
Gunnar Jeanette, if you are listening in the paddock, go find Dave House. You have a lot in common. You both are crazy. We love you for it, but you're a little bit crazy. 38 minutes to go in this contest. Kenton Cook leads from Colin Thompson, then Tony Ave. Colin doing quite a bit of weaving behind the Mazda MX-5 safety car.
Here's championship presented by Mazda. The MPC cars running with Mazda engines. That gorgeous MX-5 pulling away coming to the pit lane, and that leaves the field under the control of the race leader, Kenton Cook.
And when these situations happen, the order is given to the leader to maintain safety car speed. You've been following him around for a while, so you know what that is. Safety car speeds off and pulls away. And the green flag is back out. Kenton Cook with a good restart. Colin Thompson not caught sleeping, though. He was right there with Kenton when Kenton decided to put down the go pedal. Colin went with him. Tony Ave a little bit further back. That was a good restart by Colin Thompson to be able to gap himself to that red beast coming behind him. As soon as
even coming under the bridge, Kenton Cook was on full throttle there, anticipating the start and able to get a good jump on the field. So no way for Colin Thompson to make any ground there. But certainly credit to Colin for hanging with him.
Yeah.
He's still right on his tail, heading up toward turn 6.
Colin has his lucky charm here this weekend. His faithful puppy dog is at the racetrack. And
I thought it was his dad.
Yeah, well, that too. They were both on the grid with him as they go 3 wide. It's Gary Gibson making the pass on Stuart Reddy. Dr. Masson is there too and gets passed by Chris Wright. So a lot of action for the MPC Masters lead.
With huge championship implications, because with Stuart Reddy moving past Robert Masson, that is exactly what Robert didn't do, because Robert has to finish ahead of Stuart Reddy and have one additional MPC car between them when they get to the checkered flag.
A lot of time left to go, though. Just need to stay calm. But Colin Thompson doesn't care how much time is left on the clock. He wants the lead, and he wants it now. He has the advantage through Sector 2, the Norma, a much more slippery car through the air on the high-speed straights. The Ligier is much better through the twisty bits of the track, sectors 1 and 3. Colin Thompson massively caught up with Kenton Cook through that portion of the track, though, that Sector 2, where he has the advantage. Now it stretches out a little bit as they go through 1, and it will close up again once they get into Sector 2. We have a real knockout, drag-out fight on our hands for this win, Jeremy. Cook versus Thompson.
Yeah, that's good to see. Fastest lap on that last lap, to say, for Colin Thompson in second position, but just fractions between those two.
And Kenton responds by going the fastest we've seen in the race so far through Sector 1. The MPC battle not breaking up very much. They're looking for second overall. So on that restart, Gary Gibson went from 5th to 2nd by passing those 3 cars in 1 go. Chris Wright is 3rd. He is not in the MPC Masters battle, but he is in MPC. Stuart Reddy 4th and Kyle Masson 5th in class because, well, Kyle Masson is leading by a good deal. He's got 2 LMP3 cars between himself and Gary Gibson in 2nd.
Yeah, and Chris Wright and Gary Gibson, they were the two winners on that lap. They made up each of them 2 positions on that restart lap.
And we have a new fastest lap. Kenton Cook, the last time through, an 18.822. He took 3/10 off of the, well, he added 3/10 to the gap between himself and Colin Thompson on that one round. And those two are pulling away from the field. Goodbye. We are interested in doing our own thing. 3.7 seconds of an advantage does Colin Thompson have over Tony Ave. After that restart, that's impressive. Those guys are both trying to prove that they are the better driver. We could see something really special at the end of this, Jeremy. It could be 30.5 minutes of qualifying laps from Kenton Cook and Colin Thompson. They might be 2 tired puppy dogs by the end of this one.
Yeah, these cars are pretty physical to drive. Yeah, they're good, pretty heavy machines, and there's a lot of G-forces on this racetrack. The good news for them is it's early in the morning still relatively. It's only, what, 9:30 local time if you're not here at the racetrack, and it's still relatively cool. But still, these cars are a workout, and these two are both giving their all right now. Colin Thompson's got nothing to I don't think, lose at this stage. My reckoning, he's already got the championship locked up, so he's anxious to go for that win. And he certainly carried a lot of speed through his final corner, inching closer to Kenton Cook, but Cook has that advantage in turn 1.
And Kenton Cook bettered his lap time from the time previous. He did an 18.7, but it wasn't good enough because Colin Thompson did an 18.5. So they really are exchanging blows each time around. It's not only cat and mouse, it's something far more predatorial, but both of them are capable of fighting back. It's like 2 T-Rexes going at it out there. Gary Gibson with Chris Wright behind him, and Chris Wright taking advantage of the draft in the number 7.
Here he is. Here is Robert Masson. He's onto pit lane.
Oh no! Dr. Masson comes onto the pit lane. Let's see if he has any damage to his car as Howard Jacobs comes by as well. And Dr. Masson is now down in 12th in class. Is he doing a drive-through? Oh my goodness, he just did a drive-through.
Oh, did he?
Yep. So that would be a penalty for something then, we think. Full course yellow.
At the start of the race.
Full course yellow is out. It's for the number 42, Jim Garrett. Came into the championship this weekend. Not somebody that we're talking about for a championship contention, not like Dr. Masson. Perfect timing for Robert Masson, though, if he's going to serve a drive-through, because the field will be bunched back up with this yellow flag coming back out. It is for Jim Garrett, stopped at turn 1, just at the exit of. Facing the wrong direction, so clearly had a little bit of a spin. But the car appears to have no damage to it, at least from the angle that we can see, which is the right side and the front. Safety car lights are out.
And let's hope we have a few more laps of green flag racing this time. A messy race yesterday. This one's not started out any better, unfortunately. It was pretty intense at the front. Hopefully now we'll have a more extended run. And Colin Thompson absolutely glued to the rear wing of Kenton Cook as they come off the chicane, ready for the restart.
Down the hill they go. Kenton with a little bit more of a defensive line. He went to the apex early to try and dissuade Colin Thompson.
Thompson's got a runner and going out towards turn 1, and Kenton Cook defends to the inside. Oh. There's no way around the outside there for Colin Thompson. He had to slot into line, but Kenton had to get really defensive there into turn 1.
These guys have finally been unleashed. They are racing for pride. And of course, that first place trophy, Tony Ave sort of hanging in there though, Jeremy. He didn't let those two jump away like they did the last time. And Robbie Foley is right with Tony Ave as well. So our top 4 covered within a second.
That's right. That's right. That was a great restart by everybody else. So they figured out what Kenton Cook did last time. They hung right with him, and with that defensive line into turn 1, that certainly cost Kenton Cook momentum going up the hill. So that enabled all the other guys to hang right with him. you know, right behind him. And also hanging on to that train is the NPC class leader, Kyle Masson. He's well clear of everybody else in that class.
That's going to drop back a little bit as they come through the second portion of the track where the LMP3 cars have a bit more grunt. And here goes Colin Thompson. He's looking around the outside of Kenton, but nope, can't get it done as they go in through turns 9 and 10, back under the bridge. Let's see how close it is when they cross the start-finish line this time. Well, Kenton again with that slightly defensive line through the final turn, hits a bump and just gets knocked out a little bit. It's 0.3 of a gap, but Colin Thompson smells the chance to lead this race, to potentially win it, and he will stop at nothing to get around Kenton Cook. He has to stay close enough, keep calm, keep focused, do your thing through Sector 1, and just wait until when Sector 2, your car is the better one. Wow. I don't know who I would rather be at this stage, Jeremy, because Kenton right now just has to keep looking forward. He is looking in his mirrors. He knows that Colin's right there, but Colin only has one goal, and that is to get to the front.
That's right. He's got nothing to lose at this stage. The championship already in his pocket, and Kenton Cook, he is looking in his mirrors. He's not focusing forward. He's not on that last lap. We'll see now. He's looking again, glances in that left-hand mirror. He comes off turn 7 to see how close Colin Thompson is, because he knows the Norma is a little bit quicker on the straights, so he's weaving around. Trying to break the toe. That's not going to work.
Nope, that's not going to make any difference. And Colin Thompson dives to the right side. He tries to go around Kenton on the outside. Ooh, and Kenton,
pushes it way wide.
He did.
It was a bit marginal. Yeah,
Colin locked up. The back end got very squirrely there, but he kept his composure. He falls back into the clutches now of Tony Ave. Cool down for a lap. Get your mind back right, Colin. You can do this. You can get there. Oh, we're getting another look at this attempted pass. They went side by side. Kenton
delayed his turn in there.
He did.
That's a bit naughty. I mean, he's not locking up the brakes or anything at that stage. He's just down the inside, and he makes sure he... Oh, that was... The stewards are going to look at that, I can tell you.
They are.
Because if he'd got everything locked up, and is that Thompson off the road?
Thompson's off.
Yeah,
Colin has gone off at the S's. I hope he didn't damage his tires when he had that moment when Kenton was not letting him meet the turn, and something just flew off the back of Thompson's car. I think he might have a bit of damage to the rear component as, he went for a spin and a slide through the grass. Somebody's in the pit lane. That is one of our NPC cars coming back in. But for Colin Thompson, that was a scary moment, sideways through the grass at the top of the S's. Ugh. Yeah, that's not a moment that you want to relive several times. But Colin will be grateful he got away with that, with all four wheels still on the car, and no more apparent damage than that rear wing just being slightly, well, the component being slightly deranged, having missing one of the cheese wedges now, I believe. Kenton Cook has some breathing room. Tony Ave finds himself in second, and Robbie Foley is in third, catching Tony Ave. Could this be a 1-2 for P1 Motorsports? Well, we'll have to wait and see what the stewards say. They might have some intervention, especially if, because Colin Thompson went off as a result of the tire damage that he potentially sustained from that evasive action.
I don't think he'd have damaged the tyres. He might have got some dirt on the tyres, certainly, and that would have made the car slide around a little bit more. I would surmise he was just trying to push a little bit too hard through turn 3 and trying to make up the ground that he just lost. I'm sure he was pretty mad at the way he was treated down at the chicane on that last lap, but it's up to Colin there to keep his rag about him,
yep.
not lose his rag, so to speak, and he got away from him on that last lap. So he's got a lot of ground to make up now, which will be frustrating for him. And he, at this stage, will be hoping for another full course caution to get back on turn. But Kenton Cook did what he had to do, and he leads this race.
And Dr. Masson, who restarted dead last, got around Howard Jacobs and Stephen Dawes. That should come as no surprise. They are all under the Performance Tech umbrella. So that shouldn't have been too much of a struggle, but he is still down in 10th place in the NPC class. And his championship rivals, Gary Gibson and Stuart Reddy, currently 1st and 2nd in the Masters category. So that does not look promising from the surgeon from Central Florida. But for Colin Thompson, he has nothing to do but charge through the field now. He's caught back up. He's got Michael Watt ahead of him. That's looking at the 6th position overall. 5th in class. as Robbie Foley is not letting go of Tony Ave. And Kyle Masson is dealing with lap traffic, trying to get around Tim George, who has exited the pit lane. Now, Tim George never actually did get out of the car, so he was allowed to continue despite being towed back to the pits earlier on. Let's see, Kyle Masson trying to get around Tim George. Oh, had a big moment where Tim George did not see Masson trying to go around the right side.
No, and I wonder whether Tim George was expecting him to go to the other side there and kind of outthought himself, perhaps, Kyle, at that point. But no harm, no foul, able to maintain that position, as is Tony Ave, just about with, again, a defensive line, but at least a sensible turning point through turn 12 to keep Robbie Foley behind him.
Yes, that was a much cleaner move, as chaos has unfolded at the hairpin. Michael Klemecki has gone around. Lance Wilsey was slowed down there, and there's somebody else, might have been Max DeAngelis as well. Didn't get a clear enough glimpse at the number, but Klemecki, who was facing toward the tires, has managed to continue. Meanwhile, it's turned into a nice Friday drive for Kenton. It is Friday, right? Yeah. They still have a few hours before the banquet later on today. It's in about 4 hours' time, so they'll have enough time to cool off and enjoy whatever comes before they have that championship ceremony. So at least Colin Thompson has that to look forward to a bit later on. Getting a replay now of, there was contact between Klemecki and Lance Wilsey coming out of turn 7. And Klemecki just saw the tire barrier growing ever closer to him, managed to finally jam on the brakes and get it stopped before he hit. But very similar issue to what we saw yesterday, Jeremy, when Dave House was taken out at that same point of the track, when somebody just locked up, couldn't get the car slowed down, and nudged gently off the racetrack, the car ahead of him.
It's the second race of the weekend for the IMSA Prototype Challenge presented by Mazda here at Road Atlanta. 20th Petit Le Mans weekend. Tony Ave in second in the red car. And it's Robbie Foley behind. But where is our leading MPC runner? Shea Adam.
Kyle Masson is up to 4th overall after Colin Thompson had that moment a few laps ago. So Kyle...
Everybody else is throwing it at the scenery.
Well, yes, that too. Kyle, who had a little bit of grass in the right front of his car from that brief off moment trying to pass Tim George. But he's running a pretty solitary race at this point. And Gary Gibson is being caught by Stuart Reddy. You said yesterday it was going to take a lot for Gary Gibson to win the Masters Championship. If Stuart Reddy finishes second, it's his, yes?
Yeah, and Gary Gibson pulled out a little bit of a margin on that, because really the only hope for Gary is to usher Stuart Reddy off the racetrack, I would suggest. And I don't think he's not going to do that. He's been around this sport a long, long time.
Yeah.
He'll be frustrated with that problem they had yesterday. But it's still been a great season for Gary Gibson. He's won the Masters class on 3 occasions coming into this weekend, and the only guy who's done it more often this season is Michael Klemecki, who's had some problems in this race as well. But right now, Chris Wright is comfortably in second place. Gary Gibson is an excellent third, and Stuart Reddy doing exactly what he wants to do and needs to do in the 4th position in MPC.
Stuart Reddy used to run Lion Rampant racing. Yes. He used to be with them, right? Scottish driver. Yeah, gotta cheer for Stuart then. Alrighty, 13 minutes to go in the IMSA Prototype Challenge presented by Mazda season. We already know who 3 of our 4 champions are going to be. It's looking like Stuart Reddy for the MPC Masters class, but the checkered flag is not out yet. It's not all said and done. Meanwhile, up the front, Kenton Cook has a 9.5-second advantage over the rest of the field, and Colin Thompson continuing his charge back up through. He is now 5 seconds behind Kyle Masson, the MPC leader. The last lap around for Masson was a 20.6. The last lap around for Colin was a 21.2.
Yeah,
so
Colin Thompson clapping actually a little bit quicker than a race leader for the last couple of laps, but of course he's out of contention. He'll close in on the number 18 car, but of course it's a battle for position, or it would be a battle for position, but not for class.
And Kyle Masson right now, he's, you know, thinking, okay, I'm 4th overall. 4th overall is pretty good, given how many talented LMP3 drivers there are in this field. He doesn't want to come 5th overall. He's greedy. He wants 4th. So giving up that position might not be a given for Kyle Masson, as Robbie Foley is right up the tailpipes of the number 44 of Tony Ave. They came out of turn 7 and the two were almost connected. So now they go through 8 and down the long backstretch. Foley should get a good draft off of the Ave Riley.
Indeed so, but then Tony realizes that Robbie Foley isn't close enough.
Yeah.
It'd be very frustrating for Robbie Foley because he knows he's got a faster car, or he'll feel he's got a faster car than Tony Ave, but he just can't find a way past him, and that's what experience is all about.
Michael Klemecki back in the pit lane again. Yeah, Paul Fix has that trump card over Robbie Foley. Robbie's still a very young man. Tony's still a young man in the grand scheme of things, but he's been around the scene. He has seen every move. He's tried every move.
Very charitable.
Been there, done that, got the T-shirt.
Yeah. Cool guy, fun guy. He's got a good perspective on things. He's turned into a real entrepreneur. Not only not just a racing driver, he's added a lot of strings to his bow.
Yeah. He sort of fits the median age of this series, I think it's fair to say. He's not near the older guys, and he's not near the younger guys, but he can still drive with the best of them. Currently 2nd overall for the 44. That would be the best finishing position of the season for that chassis.
By a long way.
By a long way. So good showing from that car this weekend, which is exactly what the point was. Tony Ave coming out, and as you said, an entrepreneur. No better way to sell your equipment than to show, proving that it works. And he has done just that. Michael Klemecki has now left the pit lane again. That wasn't a drive-through, though. He did stop in his pit box briefly. MPC, Gary Gibson, is less than a 2nd ahead of Stuart Reddy now. Oh, boy. And Robert Masson is on a bit of a charge. He is up to 8th in class. He has Paul LaHaye in his crosshairs. That is the pink, white, and black car. Very, very visible. So Dr. Masson, if he can get around LaHaye, he can pretty easily catch up to Dave House as well. He could realistically get to 6th before this race is over. Wouldn't be enough for the championship, but at this point, you want to claw back every single position possible. So Kenton Cook, no threat around. He's got a 12.7 second advantage over everybody else. He puts in the fastest Sector 1 time. Where did that come from? He doesn't need to push.
No, he's just in the zone right now and having fun out there. I'm sure he's got a good clear lead over everybody else, and he's just enjoying himself. A nice Friday morning drive, as you were saying earlier on.
Well, that's true. You know, these drivers out here don't know where they're going to be next year. They don't know what they're doing necessarily. This could be their last race in the machines that they are currently piloting. As off has gone Gary Gibson at the exit of 7, it looks like. Ooh, that's not good.
No, that's not a good place to pass.
No, and Gary Gibson, who was leading the Masters class ahead of Stuart Reddy, our champion-elect, should Gibson not be able to resume, and Reddy able to see the checkered flag ahead of Robert Masson. And Gibson is stranded. He's popped open his visor. He's got a nice pair of sunglasses on, and he's signaling, nope, full course caution is out. Kenton Cook's lead of 14 seconds is gone. Hope he didn't take too much out of the tires by going so quickly on that last lap by.
Yeah, he's pretty comfortable. I mean, he's got Tony Ave's car behind him, who was pulling away from Tony Ave at a 2.5 a lap on a consistent basis. So he's got everything under control. And what was impressive about Kenton Cook these last few laps was the consistency. A bit of traffic 3 or 4 laps ago, but the last 3 lap times: 1 minute 19.02, 1 minute 19.05, and 1 minute 19.02 again. That's the sort of consistency you want to see from any driver, and particularly when they're out in front of the race and running their own pace. You know, by far, you know, a couple of 3/10 quicker he has been than Colin Thompson over the last few laps of this race.
We are under 4 minutes remaining in the season, going around one more time behind the safety car as the machine out there gets a flat toe back. Poor Gary Gibson, not the best weekend for him.
No, very disappointed for Gary because he's had several DNFs this season. Despite that, you know, he was right there in contention for this Masters Championship, but it's not going to happen for him this time. It has happened in the past, and likely will do so again because he's a super enthusiast, absolutely loves it. He's from Libertyville, Illinois. He's started his kind of racing career, short track speed skating at the age of 5. That will tell you that was a year or 3 ago.
Oh my gosh.
And you know, he's had success here in the past. His first pole on this series was right here at Road Atlanta back in 2009. He made his debut here at Road Atlanta also in 2007. So
when you talk about
experience,
talk about a cutthroat sport, short track speed skating. Learn how to run with your elbows out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good grief.
And he kind of did that in the early stages here. We saw him muscling his way through into the lead of the Masters class, and, you know, and hanging out there with some of the youngsters as well. Not quite able to match the pace of Kyle Masson, but everybody else he was right there with.
Safety car lights are out. We're going to go back to green with just over 2 minutes remaining in this one.
Two green flags laps, I reckon, just about.
Yep. Tony Ave is studying the rear end of Kenton Cook's car. He does not want Kenton to drive off into the distance. He wants a chance at the overall win. Tony Ave looking good for the Masters win, but is a little bit greedy. Green flag is out, and Kenton Cook goes bye as he tries to launch away from the competition. Tony Ave hanging on, though, and Robbie Foley right there on the back of Tony Ave as well as they go 4 wide in the MPC class down the front straight. Everybody makes it through safe and sound.
Colin Thompson gets past Kyle Masson on the inside line into turn 1. So up into 4th place now is Colin Thompson. He will set his sights on Robbie Foley in car number 17.
Quite a gap for him to try and close up with 1.5 minutes to go. Can he do it? That's the big question. Getting to Robbie Foley is one thing, passing him is another, but Colin Thompson is a guy who has a lot of racing experience. He's been a champion in the IMSA GT3 Challenge. He's been a champion in World Challenge. He knows how to win championships. Clearly, he's demonstrated that again this weekend. He knows also how to win a lot of races. And Robbie Foley, who is still fairly new to this whole racing thing, he's brand new to this downforce thing. He doesn't have the same confidence level that Colin Thompson does. Tony Ave holding off Robbie Foley. There's a little bit of a gap between the two of them now, as Kenton Cook is still looming in the front. Colin Thompson reeling in Foley little by little. It's almost like watching the Death Star in Star Wars, just with its ability to grasp something and pull it back in. White flag is out. 1 lap to go for the 2017 season. The IMSA Prototype Challenge presented by Mazda. The leader is Kenton Cook, followed by Tony Ave in the 44, Robbie Foley in the 17, and then Colin Thompson, champion-elect, in the number 14. Our MPC leader is Kyle Masson. He's fallen down to 6th place overall, but still has a 1-car advantage between himself and Chris Wright. Not a 1-car length advantage, but an actual physical car between them. Stuart Reddy leads the MPC Masters class.
Yeah, and a good restart there by Dave House, who managed to find a way around the youngster Tazio Ortiz. Both from California. Dave will be pleased by that. Good effort by him in car number 86 for the One Motorsports team.
Here comes Colin. He's having a look down the outside of Robbie Foley and makes the pass. His Norma so much stronger through that part of the track than the Ligier. And now he looks straight ahead to the bright red machine of Tony Ave. He's going 2 for 1 down the backstretch. Tries to go around the outside of the 44. Cannot make it happen. He will hold on to that third place, though, as long as he keeps his foot down, coming out underneath the bridge. But it is a weekend sweep. Kenton Cook, 2 pole positions and 2 wins for the Californian. Tony Ave finishes 2nd overall, your Masters winner in the LMP3 class. Colin Thompson, a stellar drive back up to 2nd in the LMP3 class non-Masters, 3rd overall. Robbie Foley comes home 4th. Our MPC winner, again, our champion, young Kyle Masson in the number 18. 2nd in that class was Chris Wright in the number 7. And 3rd in class was the Masters winner, Stuart Reddy, in the 21. Checkered flag is waving for the final time for this year for this championship in its current format.
Shea Adam and Jeremy Shaw calling the action from the IMSA radio booth for the 2nd race of the weekend at Road Atlanta, and we thank them for their hard work this season. Coming up, we'll check the championship positions and speak to our 2 category winners. Road Atlanta has fallen silent at the end of an action-packed IMSA Prototype Challenge presented by Mazda 2017 season. The drivers who'll be involved in the podium celebrations are just gathered and swapping racing stories beneath the IMSA radio booth. Kenton Cook takes the final top step of the podium in LMP3 from Tony Ave and Colin Thompson, whilst in 6th position overall, Kyle Masson rounds off a brilliant championship-winning season ahead of Chris Wright in 2nd position and Stuart Reddy in 3rd in the MPC category. But this weekend at Road Atlanta has all been about Kenton Cook. He's taken 2 wins from the 2 starts.
Well, I mean, it was good. There was a heck of a battle between Colin and I, definitely at the beginning there. And I made a little bit of mistake coming out of turn 5, and I know he has all the straight line speed in the world on me. And the only thing I could do was just to try to get a good run through 1 through 7. But I kind of screwed up turn 5 a little bit. And he got a run on me going down the back straightaway. But yeah, I taught him a little lesson. It was all clean. It was just a good hard racing, and he was clean. We were all clean, no contact. It was. I love racing with Colin, and I would race him again. And it's good to get a team championship, just shy of the drivers' championship, but you know, we can't ask for more. So very appreciative of the opportunity P1 Motorsports has given me. Justice Brothers, Donate Life, Mazda Motorsports. Really just ecstatic to be a part of the Prototype Challenge Series and the inaugural LMP3 class.
The V8-engined LMP3s have been a fine addition to the championship. Naj Hussain in 3rd position. Twice a winner this weekend, Kenton Cook was 8 points short of our championship winner, Colin Thompson. In MPC, a different story. Chris Wright just stealing away 2nd place from Tazio Otis in our final race. But there's been only one man in MPC, our championship winner, Kyle Masson.
Today's race was just another perfect example of consistency. You know, the team put together a really great car. We had some vibration yesterday in yesterday's race, so it was all about managing that and bringing the car back home safely yesterday. But today, the team, Performance Tech, they fixed it up, did a great job. The car was flawless all race, and we just ran our own race. A lot of yellows came out. Naj got by me on the last yellow at the end of the race, but it's all right. He's in a different class, and towards the end, I was just trying to finish safe and be clean, so.
Kyle Masson, a name we'll have to look for in the coming years in endurance and sports car racing, I'm sure. Thanks very much to our hard-working production team and to all the volunteer marshals and officials at every circuit that we've visited this year. In the IMSA radio booth, my colleagues Shea Adam and Jeremy Shaw, along with Jim Roller, have called a superb season of action for the IMSA Prototype Challenge presented by Mazda. For 2018, there's a change in format. 2 drivers for each car and an endurance race rather than 2 sprint races. And it all gets underway at the Raw before the Rolex 24 in January 2018. I hope you'll join us then. I'm John Hindhaugh. Bye-bye.